Hello, everybody. Jennifer Lee Chan here from NBC Sports Bay Area. Before you start settling in for the NBA final game number two, just want to drop a little bit of a video here just to talk about what's to come this week. This is mandatory minicamp, and it looks like everybody for the 49ers has already shown up. Trent Williams is there, obviously. Guys who held out last year. We haven't seen Brandon Ayuk, but I do know that he is in the building. He's obviously recovering from his ACL injury. Ricky Pearsall hasn't been on the field, but we do know that he is in the building. Uh, Most of the players that had maybe not shown up at earlier parts of the OTAs are definitely in the building. So, kind of the big one that everybody was holding out for was Trent Williams, and we saw him on the field doing some individual drills last week. So, open practices on Tuesday and Wednesday. And I just got to say, just kind of bigger picture scope of what's going on with the 49ers, I do feel like there was a different energy similar to 2023 when they made it, through and appeared in the Super Bowl. There's just a different energy compared to last year. And I remember Matt Maiocco and I talking about it on 49ers Talk saying, he said, oh, it just feels different. It feels slow. There's no energy. And I kept saying, no, when Dre Greenlaw comes back, there'll be more energy. When Christian McCaffrey comes back, they'll pick it back up. That, they feel like they're still there. But looking back on it now, I can see where Matt was coming from, and the energy now is much more similar to what we've seen in the past. Fred Warner just totally fiery on the sidelines. Anytime a defensive player makes a huge play, he's running up and down the sidelines, just screaming and hooting, hollering, congratulating the guys who make big plays. Deommodore Lenoir had a huge pass breakup. He was like screaming, jumping up and down, ran out to congratulate him because Fred Warner's not doing 11 on 11 work. He's not doing team drills at all. When some of the younger guys have gone out there and made plays, D Winters went out there and made a pass breakup. He was just jumping up and down and screaming, ran all the way over to congratulate D Winters. On the offensive side, George Kittle is always super enthusiastic, but I think he's kind of pumping up the guys a little bit more. Christian McCaffrey being out there, just his energy and the way he's moving on the field. I know it's not padded. I know it's just basically walk through, but these guys, the energy is different. And this is my 13th year covering the 49ers, and you can see the energy at this point in the year. And the new young guys are excited. And I think guys like, Fred Warner is excited to get Nick Martin up to speed. I think Nick Bosa is excited to get Michael Williams up to speed. And you just see this bonding and team kind of building stuff that's going on in the field. And I think you should, obviously take it with a grain of salt as well, because no games have been played. They haven't even done any roster cuts at all, but just the general energy of what has been felt on the practice field is completely different than last year. And I think that's a positive thing. Last year, yes, I think everybody had like that Super Bowl loss hangover, and it just took a while for them to get going. And when they did get going, then they stopped. And then when they did get going, they stopped. Obviously, they have to stay healthy. Christian McCaffrey has to stay healthy. Trent Williams has to stay healthy. All of these guys that are so vital to the team's success need to stay healthy for them to be successful. So I think, the 49ers are on their way. But, looking at the big picture, I think the attitude is 100% better. And I think that can make a huge difference. So early, these guys were wanting to get back on the field. They, I think 2024, it was like, oh, we have to go back already. This time they had that extra month of time off to recover, to go travel, to spend time with their families. And I think that guys were itching to get back. I mean, Fred Warner said it. Yeah, it's like, we took advantage of the time off, but I'm ready to get back. And they know what they have in front of them. They've got an easier schedule, the easier schedule compared to everybody else in the division. But a lot of things have to work out right. They all have to stay healthy. One of the groups that needs to really step up is the wide receivers group with Brandon Ayuk. His timeline, not really set at all. It was ACL, MCL damage, not just the ACL by itself. I spoke about Malik Mustafa on my last video about how when he was walking, his right leg wouldn't straighten completely. So there is some work and rehab for him to do as well. Um, I think the 49ers want to make sure that it is completely healed, unlike where he went back maybe too early when he was at Wake Forest. And that's the same knee that he injured this time. So they do want to make sure that he's healthy for the long haul. But watching him out there, he's, hanging out with his teammates, watching team drills. He's energetic and kind of, you know, jogging lightly on his legs. So I think that's a good sign. But again, going back to wide receivers, Brock Purdy had a lot of positive things to say about the guys that have been working with him, like Demarcus Robinson. He said, Demarcus has been awesome, just having that veteran receiver in the receiving core in the receiving room, showing those guys sort of what it's just like to be a vet receiver. He's very smart. He's come in, he's learned the playbook. And not only that, he's actually gone out every single day and just competed and getting up and down with the ball and tracking the ball and getting in and out of cuts as well. This is really important because Jauan Jennings obviously has not skipped a beat and he looks fantastic, but who's wide receiver two? Ricky Pearsall has been hung up with a hamstring tweak and he's supposed to be healthy by mandatory minicamp, but they're not going to throw him out there. We may see him doing some conditioning work on the side field while we're out on the field watching the guys do drills, but Ricky Pearsall is not going to be involved. And it's just tough because, he was held out last year with the hamstring, shoulder subluxation. So he needs more reps with Brock. And yes, he did go to Jacksonville with Ricky. Ricky went to Jacksonville with Jacob Cowing, worked with Brock on timing. And I think that's really important. And I hopefully they get to do that again during the break. But another guy who's looked really good so far is Jordan Watkins. And this is what Brock Purdy had to say about Jordan Watkins, rookie. Yeah, he's balling, man. Jordan Watkins has been balling from day one, really. He's come in, he's done everything pretty right. He's been on point. He's had a lot of explosive plays down the field. Obviously, the short game, the intermediate, he's making plays all around. I'm so excited for him. Obviously, we know it's a process through this whole thing from OTAs to the 40 days away to camp. And I know he knows that. I'm really excited to keep working with him and for him to keep learning our offense and how we do things, but definitely a rookie that has popped out in front of everybody. Now, the 40 days away are really important. Obviously, he's gotten some good work, and this is Jordan Watkins, gotten some good work in during OTAs, but that has to continue during those 40 days. Kyle Shanahan talks about how important it is for especially rookies to really use the 40 days away to hone their craft, to study the playbook, because if they come into training camp not on this with the same momentum, they can get caught up, they can get behind, and that is detrimental to their week one. So Jordan Watkins is on the right path, and I think he could be a guy who, makes the roster obviously and contributes on the field come the beginning of the season. If Ricky Pearsall gets healthy, I'm sure he will too. Jacob Cowing has looked really good. I talked about the pass where he slipped, fell onto the grass, got up and made a one-handed catch, and that was from Mac Jones. I mean, it was pretty spectacular grab. So lots of good things happening with the 49ers. And I think big picture wise, things are looking good. They just need to stay healthy and keep the momentum going. All right, I'll have more updates for you soon. Enjoy the NBA game. And if you're a musical theater fan, I am too. I know it's weird juxtaposition. I love football and I love musical theater. Grew up with it. The Tony Awards are tonight, so I'll be watching both on two different screens. All right, everybody, have a fantastic Sunday, and I'll bring you more, obviously, this week. Big week, mandatory minicamp.